Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, this is a message to the moms out there. Maybe you haven't had sons yet. Maybe you only have daughters. Maybe you have nephews and such that you can watch over. But essentially, the message I'm going to talk about is going to be the same. Will be able to apply to you. Is that mothers have to guard their sons against vampire-like feminists who will exploit their loneliness through pornography and take all their hard-earned money. It's really important that you help educate your son on why he should not waste his money. No matter if he's a rich man and he gets a bunch of women to come to his lot, to his penthouse, on his yacht, doesn't matter. Whether he's a young man working a 9 to 5, then going on OnlyFans and wasting his money on these girls. Essentially, the core component here is that you raise him to where he is never that weak and that degenerate. And you have to instill this from him, to tell him as a young man, don't pay for these women. Take care of your wife. If he's polygamous, have wives. But do not waste your money on such women like that. They're not worth a quarter in a pile of dog poo. You have to really be harsh. You have to speak harsh about these women. Because how is your son going to make it and have a functioning relationship with a good woman if all he's ever done is had overbearing, psychologically manipulative, toxic, vile, cold-hearted, catty women take all his money and exploit his loneliness? A lot of these men are deeply vulnerable inside. They don't have a father figure. They are not connected to the father that they have, or they're just so introverted that it's causing problems. And how they have confidence to try to pick a wife. And now that we have more and more women by the day who are married and are doing this behind their husband's back, or their husbands are such weak men that they actually like, enjoy, and want other men to stare at their wives and stuff as long as they get to cash the check. This type of energy that's growing in America, okay, is going to be a big problem for a lot of young men, because these men are going to try to eventually delete themselves, or they're just going to be these swallowing pilled zombies of Big Pharma, or they're going to venture out into the rural areas, kind of like zombie hordes, and trying to find some woman who will love them that they don't have to pay all the time. And this is how we have a big danger for the good girls who don't degrade themselves, who carry themselves well, who fear Allah, and who don't sell out their dignity so that people can fap to them. But the key component here is the role of the mother. If you're at work all day, at college all day, you're not really making sure that you're dialed in with your son right when he's born. You have until 18, I think, to really just have him in your possession in terms of guiding him to a good path, praying to Allah for him. Every single prayer you pray for your son, okay? He stays away from these types of women. And if you can, check on what he spends. Find out, like, if he leaves one of his cell phone bills around, check what he's paying, what he's going on, just has credit card bills, something to where you can figure out if he's wasting his money on something. Maybe there's a way you can check through AT&T what websites are being visited. Do something to have an intervention to where your son isn't this cucked, pathetic loser who's spending all his little money on some chick's boobs online, who's manipulating him, and who's just like, I love you, I care about you, I'm your virtual girlfriend, and she's just robbing him right in his face, and he's just like, oh, the boobs, but, you know, you have to really help him. You have to save him. These porn girls, essentially, are like these demonic spirits that just and just suck out the soul of your son, and he's just like laying on the floor, and you're just standing there watching all these women take turns just taking a piece of his soul away, manipulating him, degrading him, making him low value. A good woman can see a broken man, a pervert, a degenerate, and it's terrifying. She doesn't want some freak like that to be the father of her children. Okay? Freak dads are too scary to be around daughters and sons. So she's going to abandon your son, and you need to fortify your son so that he can have the finances to take care of you, and that he can give you grandchildren with a good woman, not a crazy single mom, hoochie mama, catty, CEO boss babe, who is going to just stuff your kids with some nanny and totally neglect them and drive your son insane with loneliness to where he returns back to pornography. And as social media censors this, as the leftists, feminists, and the atheists and occultists get more and more insane, and the more hatred they have for what is good, what is pure, what is honorable, what is virtuous, what is dignified, this will metastasize upon our society, and speaking up will be costly. But you at home can't get censored by Facebook. You at home can't get censored by Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or Reddit or whomever, okay? You can tell your son, and you may think, oh, I don't want to say stuff like that. Save your son. Save him. What if he comes to you one day and says, I'm $10,000 in debt on my credit card because I was paying cam girls? Like, what are you saying? Like, what are you saying? That's like the cost. Hopefully no one ever spends that much on a wedding. But it's like, that's like a wedding. That's like the cost of a hospital bill to deliver a baby. What are you doing? You see what I'm saying? You have to be with your son. You cannot just be selfish thinking about clothes, thinking about material items, and letting the hounds chew upon the corpse of your son. Because these women, the more men they manipulate, the more they get better and better at their hustle, at their game. And you have to save your son. Don't be like these moms who allow their sons to be turned into some just rodent. Don't be like those moms. And sure, we can warn and warn and warn, and they may not listen. They may fall back into sin and come back. But one raw thing you could say is that, son, if you're having this sin, there's free things everywhere. You shouldn't consume it either way, but never spend your money. Never. No woman is worth even $5 of that. None of them. None of them. And you have to help him because he has these hormones. He's just raging with natural male energy that isn't being allowed to really fluctuate. There's men who fear hunting, who are afraid to learn how to go to a shooting range. They can't even handle the sight of childbirth. They can't, catch a fish and chop its head off and gut it because they're too queasy. There's people who probably couldn't even handle a bunch of cockroaches in a shed if they had to go and clear it out. The quality of men and their toughness, resilience, their tolerance for gore and horror is getting less and less and less. And these hyper materialistic, super driven, focused women know exactly just how to pluck off every hair on that mane of your son to where he's a maneless lion with patches of hair missing, and he has no idea what's going on, and all he has is women stuffing their hands into his wallet and taking out all this cash digitally. You have to help him and guard him and protect him. Teach him, help him, save him. It's up to you. The father is going to have his own way. But as a mom, there's a thing there inside of you to help you expose bad women. The sisterhood isn't real. Don't listen to these feminists who are like, sisterhood, girl power, yay. Don't fall for that. They're not like us, and we don't need to be like them. None of their deeds are going to matter on Judgment Day because they denied the one who made them, didn't submit, chose the dunya. Don't take their advice. Don't follow them. Don't look up to them. They're not the same as us. Okay? So don't think they're gonna help you, or maybe they're not that bad, or because they have a big house, they must be doing something right. No. Wealth is a test and trial. Poverty is a test and trial. Your son is a test and trial, and you need to help him before you exit this world and return to Allah, so that your grandchildren can be saved, so that your lineage can continue, so that you can put a good man into the world to fight evil and corruption and decay. Not someone who participates in it. Okay? And even if he falls into sin for a while, strengthen him to the point where he'll turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if Allah permits, he will turn back and come back to the fold. That is what we want. These degraded, soft, effeminate men who will do anything to please women, and then those women turn around, take that money, and go with a prison bad boy, is how everything is getting disrupted. Protect your son to avoid these types of women. My dad chose these types of women, and they made terrible stepmothers. It's terrible. Okay? Awful. God awful. People often have a cliche of, oh, my mom was like a nun and she was so cold and callous and she always was Bible thumping. Ugh. But the media never talks about people like me who grew up with a stripper stepmom and a stripper mother as well, and how awful these women are for raising children. No. They don't talk about how the magnetized sexual energy that radiates from them is just so unhealthy, where it literally can make you too sexual to the point where you don't even know what purity is anymore. So protect your sons from women like that. So with my dad's mom, she failed as a human being, and she did not protect her son, and she didn't raise him, and she let him choose like that and live like that till this day. And now none of her grandchildren care about her or love her, and she's just in Florida, drinking wine and not caring with her dogs. So we have to break the cycle. And the way in which we break the cycle is by trying our best to avoid that sin and to help protect our sons so that they're not exploited. Think about what I've said. It's up to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your husband, but you as a mom have a role to play. It's not just you talking to your daughters. Boys who don't have a strong mother figure to protect them from sloppy, sticky, vile, low-grade women in terms of spirituality, their sons could be snatched from them. You could have a strong, vibrant son, and a woman can crush his mind and just totally warp it. Just make him not even recognize himself. Drive him nuts, and he'll delete himself. And then you'll be at the grave, and that chick who caused your son to go insane will be sending pornography pics to other dudes and doing the same to other women's sons. They prance from victim to victim to victim, and they never get called out because the feminists serve the occultic agenda, and they want to crush good men. They want to rule over beta boys because that's how they're going to build their empire. Because a strong man who loves God, it will not bow to the heels of a woman. And a good woman who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want to crush the souls of men and understands her gender role. These women who are feminist occultists and feminist atheists, they are not on the same plane as us. Consciously, spiritually, anything at all. And just because they are women doesn't mean we have to choose them over our own children. So think about it. Protect your sons. Do what's right. Save them. Guide them. Protect them. Keep the dirty girls away from them. And teach them from a very young age. Take them on the walk by the ocean. Go hiking. Have a very open, private conversation, like open in the nature, and say, I need to talk to you, son, about something. And just spill the beans on all types of female manipulation. Protect your son. I tell my brothers this all the time. And one day, when I have sons, inshallah, I'll tell them as well. And yeah, I warn my daughter about bad men, but that's a different topic. But still, protect them. Because the liberals and some conservatives, secular conservatives, they really enjoy those types of women, and they cheat on their wives, they break up their homes, and it's causing pain for generations and generations. So we have to put a stop to it. We have to be the wall. And through that, more people will return back to a better pious system. Think about what I've said. There's more that could be said, but have this motivate you. You can't just sit back and think all the sheikhs are going to do it. You know, he'll find some friend at school. I gotta worry about my makeup, and I gotta worry about this, and I gotta worry about that. No. This is something that you have to reiterate time and time again with your son. Revisit it, rehash it, inquire. Surprise him at school. Go there, just surprise him. Hey son, how you doing? Eat with him at lunch. See who his friends are. Guard him as you would a pile of gold. You wouldn't leave a pile of gold out in your front lawn, but you're leaving your son out so that women who are predators can come take all his money and disrupt his spirit and lead him to Jahannam. Come on. Come on. The sooner you warn him and program him and instill in him this strength to not be a slave to women, to not desire them just because they're beauty. That's the spell that women have, is their beauty. To teach him to be like, no matter how beautiful you are, I say no. Prophet Yusuf, may Allah be pleased with him, showed us a glimpse of that. You yourself have to do the same. You have to do it. There isn't a choice now. The amount of men who are alone and depressed and anxious, who are allowing these vampires to take their money, and liberal soy boys like, yeah, take my money, queen. I'm an online streamer, take my money. It is next level sad, because those women are going to get tired of those soy boys and come for the good men. And we have to protect the good men from the women who caused all the bad men. Just really think about what I said. There's more that could be said, as I said. But it's just quite sad. And if you have a younger brother, watch out for him. You have nephews, you have cousins. Help. Guard. Nurture. Be there. Run away from these feminists. They're going to be lonely in an old folks' home, and they'll taste the fruits of their labor in their old folks' homes, sitting in their chair, a nurse cleaning their butt, and they'll be watching TV until their brain rots with no children around them and desperately alone, feeling the punishment and heaviness of their sin. Again, prepare your sons.